Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelove and this is Speedplay Touggourt number 20. So, we left off nearly completing our reconquest, or well, just our conquest, of East Africa. We have every country except Kaffa under our control. We do have a very strong coalition against us, Austria, Milan, and Genet, who we're just going to declare war on. This way, all we'll have to do is occupy Genet until their war exhaustion gets high enough that they basically sell the coalition down the river. We have a larger fleet than Austria and Milan. We do not have a more powerful presence in Europe, so we're just going to evacuate from Greece and probably Italy, and in the ideal world, trap their armies on islands. Meanwhile, we declare war on Kaffa to go ahead and completely finish the conquest of East Africa. We unfortunately missed the opportunity to trap 100,000 Austrians in in Venice, which really isn't ideal. We'll just re-siege the province and then hopefully we'll be able to trap them on it again. We do have quite a few small islands, so we can hopefully trap quite a bit of their forces. Now, depending on how things actually end up working, and we do have a bit of rebellion to deal with, unfortunately I only sent half the troops I had meant to, and we have to retreat. Okay, issues like that notwithstanding, if we're able to trap enough Austrian forces, we can still win battles against them, but only if we have significant superiority in numbers. They have a slightly larger, or at least the coalition has a larger force than we do, so we're going to have to trap a significant portion of that on islands if we're going to actually take the fight to them. Otherwise, I wouldn't really mind just using this war as an opportunity to get the coalition to disband until the truces end, which would allow us to declare war on the Ottomans, who have basically collapsed at this point, without really having to worry about anything from the coalition, essentially. And any countries that join the coalition after we seize all the lands possible from the Ottoman Empire will have their own separate coalition that isn't going to be a threat to us. Unfortunately, France has joined, they have launched their own war against us, which is not great as we have a few armies trapped in Europe. We lose a naval engagement significantly. We start building new groups of triple-deckers, 28 in total in Europe. We may end up building additional heavy ships, as the entry of the French really just throws everything off. I'd been hoping to at least on some level fight the Austrians and maybe make gains from them. However, this means that we are now actually facing a legitimate threat to our country. The fact that we lost the naval engagement more than anything else is going to be a terrible problem, as now we have to actually focus on the defense of North Africa. Hopefully, though, we still do have quite a bit of European holdings. We do annex Kaffa, so that's one war taken care of. As long as they're sieging the European holdings, we probably don't have to worry about an invasion into North Africa. We definitely do, however, need to get a naval presence set up. We built an additional series of heavy ship fleets, and we're going to have to just start organizing our forces and attempting to win or at least damage their navies enough that we can slowly make gains in the Mediterranean. Admittedly, it was pretty smart of the French to take advantage of this opportunity. We have won the last few naval engagements. We just lost one, however, it wasn't very significant. As long as we're able to keep pressing forward, though, this shouldn't be too much of a disaster. And we may even be able to do the same plan and just trap the French armies on various islands. So we'll see how that goes. We are chasing them out of the Mediterranean. It looks as though it may work fairly well. That battle did not go in our favor, which is very unfortunate. We're going to just keep making ships, as it is just a matter of the utmost importance, and we can definitely afford it, at least for now. Now, we lost that battle, but it went a lot more in our favor than the previous ones had. Now, we do have a few French armies, by which I mean over 100,000 men trapped on an island. If we can just hold out that naval battle, we can keep them trapped. So we do send forces over to reinforce. We lose the first naval battle, but we get men over and hold it. Now, unfortunately, the Portuguese have ambushed one of our fleets, which is a bit annoying. Luckily, we built ships in the Indian Ocean. One major concern is if the French take the war goal, which is in Southeast Asia, and I'm sorry for slipping over that word so much. If the French take the war goal, then we will basically be forced to concede something. As long as we're able to move enough forces over to just secure the war goal, though, we should be in a good enough position to eventually make, at the very least, a white peace. Now, realistically, that's all I'm hoping for. That's all I had wanted out of the war with Austria and the coalition. The fact that France joined this is actually going to work in our favor in the long run, and we did end up keeping their armies trapped. However, I'm not entirely certain if we will be able to make a significant foothold and push them back, and we do have to fight. Luckily, we've kept them trapped. That was a very close call, though. We don't have to worry about the war goal being seized, although our navies aren't doing amazingly well. Overall, we are in a stable position. We may even attempt a landing in Italy if we can get enough forces into Italy and besiege the French-controlled areas. We should be in a good spot. We have completely won the naval battles, so we have control of the Mediterranean, which is amazing news. So with that in mind, I feel like we are in a fairly safe position. We can probably advance and maybe even take back our positions in Italy. We do go ahead and just create a new army just to be safe, and also just to shore up the numbers. Now, we could make peace, and I am considering it, although we may want to just press for more gains. We do go ahead and send forces over, and overall we're in a very good spot. It's not the greatest, and it's a little tenuous, but we can hopefully make a very nice advance with this Italian army. Unfortunately, the French are bringing reinforcements. We are as well. However, we do not get there in time, and we are stack wiped. That was a very large army, and realistically, we're not going to attempt another invasion of Italy. That was just a terrible disaster. Luckily, Portugal, which has a significant series of holdings in sub-Saharan Africa, is also in the war, and we can get access through Galicia, who isn't giving access to the French. We can get access through Galicia and attempt, hopefully, a more successful version of our recent Italian campaign. So we do go ahead and land in Galicia. We'll send a few more forces over, and now we will march against Portugal. We'll begin to split our forces up for sieges. However, they do have a significant force. We cannot get out of the way in time. We reinforce. And while that did not work that well, we can hopefully still get a few pieces of territory. And at this point, I'm completely fine with us just making this peace deal. We've gotten one of our client states all the way to the sea. It is our first client state with access to the sea. We make peace with the Austrians, taking not very much, and we go ahead and rival the Ottomans, setting up, finally, a position where we can go ahead and focus on toppling the Ottoman Empire, which at this point is definitely the sick man of Europe. So, before we do that, though, we're going to just gather all of our forces. We're going to also build a few extra armies. They're currently fighting Poland and not doing very well at all in that war. So realistically, we may just want to sit it out for a moment and watch as they collapse to the Polish. They also have a series of rebellions, which works very well for us and will hopefully go in our favor quite a bit. We also have a couple rebellions, nothing too serious, luckily. And it doesn't look as though the Ottomans have any armies in Europe, So that's no armies near their capital or that can realistically get to their capital in the near future. If we're lucky and we go ahead and support those peasant rebels, they will be able to seize Constantinople, hopefully enforce their demands on the Ottomans, break the country, and get all of the rebel groups to basically achieve their ends. If that happens, and we also have a slew of our own rebels to deal with, but if that occurs, we can just go ahead and declare war on all the breakaway states, such as Serbia, who we immediately declare war on, and also Crete, who we can just go ahead and declare war on as well. Now, that did draw in Scandinavia, or one of the Scandinavian countries, as they are the defender of the faith, and for whatever reason that area is Protestant, but we have a massive navy now, so we'll just put them at Gibraltar, where we do actually fight a battle and win. So that was pretty well done. Georgia also gets its independence, so we can just go ahead and get a force ready to declare war on them. And while the Ottomans collapse, we're just going to keep eating all of the scraps. It's not the most honorable solution, and it's a bit shady, and in fact the Austrians are now dogpiling on the Ottomans as well. So realistically, it's either us or another power who is going to be killing the Ottomans, and it's really better in the long run that it's us. Now, we do go ahead and declare war on Georgia. We'll just go ahead and press through them. The idea is basically going to be that we'll just annex all of these countries, and from there be in a pretty good spot. Once we have cored all of the lands that we're going to be taking that the Ottomans have cores on, we'll just declare our war against the Ottomans ourselves. And in fact, there is now an even larger number of countries we can go ahead and attack. Although at this point, the Ottomans really don't have any forces whatsoever. So we're probably going to go ahead and declare this war sooner rather than later. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day. I'm sorry for the delay.